Hey friends, on today's episode, I sit down with Alix Dick and Antero Garcia, co-authors of The Cost of Being Undocumented, One Woman's Reckoning with America's Inhumane Math. Alix is an artist and storyteller living in Los Angeles. Her contributions as a producer and filmmaker have screened at film festivals across the globe. She edits the substack Cuenta, an online publication centering the voices and perspectives of individuals labeled undocumented in the U.S. Antero is a professor in the Graduate School of Education at Stanford University and president-elect of the National Council of Teachers of English. He has authored or edited more than 24 books about schooling in America, and he co-edits the substack Cuenta. In this episode, we talk about the origin story of the book, the process for Alix to eventually come out and tell her story, her hesitancy of sharing so much so publicly, and her dislike of the word undocumented. And Antero shares what it was like to write centered on one person's story and with the research and academic woven throughout in a different way. We also talk about the timeliness of the book, as well as the hopes that this book will spark long-term conversations about immigration in the United States. Along the way, you'll find out what they love, what brings them joy, and by the end, you too will be wondering who would play you in a movie about you. You're going to enjoy getting to know these two lovely, passionate human beings. Thanks for spending time with The Amalgamation, and I hope you enjoy my conversation with Alix Dick and Antero Garcia. My name is Bruce Reyes-Chow, and you found The Amalgamation Podcast. Each episode, I chat with inspiring humans, activists, artists, academics, and adventurers as we joyfully and courageously co-conspire to make the world a more loving, compassionate, and just home for everyone. Welcome to The Amalgamation. Welcome. I'm really excited today because I've been watching this project, The Cost of Being Undocumented, One Woman's Reckoning with America's Inhumane Math, come to life. Because at some point, connected with Alix around something. I don't remember what, whether it was church or Palo Alto or something, and watching that. And so I'm excited to get to know her a little bit more, and Antero, co-author as well, to get to talk about the book a little bit and get to know them as we think about a lot of things today, but around immigration and all kinds of stuff. But first, the official bios in the show notes, but let's hear a little bit. So Antero, tell us what would be important for us to know about you that maybe not in the bio that gets put out there.
Yes, I think it's probably clear that I'm an educator in my bio, but I tend to be pretty geeky about various topics. And I think the things that tend to be kind of near and dear to my heart are topics related to education, to English classrooms. And I can kind of dig into various topics. So, within the broad domain of English, I care about technology and media literacy. And we're probably all doomed because of the media literacy crisis that's happening, depending on who you talk to at any given day. But, most of my time, I think what I'm interested in are the ways that we prepare teachers and the ways that we think about, what are the lives of young people in America right now, right? So that those feel like useful starting points for the kinds of nerdy pathways I tend to dive into at any given point.
And my guess is you get nerdy about a lot of things, just whatever might inspire your mind.
As will probably come up in a later segment, I get very nerdy about things like reality TV, and
yes,
annoyingly obnoxious rock bands, right? So like there's lots of things that are raucous and vapid that I get nerdy about, alongside the kind of like highly cited, very niche academic stuff too.
Awesome. I'll try not to rush to that segment of the show. I'm very excited now about that. Alix, tell us a little bit about you. What's important to know about you?
Well, something very important to know about me is that I love Jesus Christ.
Wait, this just turned into an evangelism show. How did that happen? What's going on here?
I wanted to say that because you and I were talking about that earlier, and I think that people have this idea of me and they don't necessarily know where to place me. I feel like when people see the way I think, they get surprised when they realize that I actually love God, and loving people also means loving God. And I just wanted to mention that because I feel like people don't quite understand that part and separate both of them. But
yeah, a lot of conversation I have right now is there are a lot of Christians out there that are super left, but people don't know about us. in the narrative of the United States right now, that is not what people think about when they think about Christianity. And
Absolutely.
it's kind of our own fault. We just don't tell it very well. I mean, I think there's that. But yeah, well, good. I'm glad you're here. All right, so let's talk about the book. I am fully admitting that I did not get a chance to read it yet, so I get to ask questions that it's like, I see this book on a bookshelf and it looks intriguing, and so why should I pick it up? That's kind of what we're going to do. I did read the intro, which I learned so much because I had no idea how it started. But how did this book come about? Because I think folks will be really interested in, like, how did it even start?
Well, Antero and I have been working together for many years. I don't know how many years. Maybe he remembers. Do you remember how many years we've been working together? He said no.
It's too many years. This is our last conversation.
Too many years. It's done. We're done after this.
Too many years. And he started. Antero used to be my boss. I used to babysit his kids. He had twins, beautiful babies. And when the pandemic happened, I was working with them. And when the pandemic happened, the world shut down, and the people who you were working with became your whole world, right? And during that time, I feel like the only people I knew in the world were Antero, his kids, and his wife. And we started having these conversations, like, naturally, you get closer with the people that you see every day when the world is falling apart, pretty much. And then he invited me to start doing research with him. The book was not on the picture yet. I don't even think that was our intention when the work started. During that time, I was living in the Bay Area, but I was going to LA because I was trying to sell the idea of my story being a TV series or a movie, which, by the way, I still want to do that. So in case somebody's listening, hello.
We're going to have to do a who would play you at some point in this broadcast. But keep going.
In case somebody's interested, call me.
Yep.
And when we started working, Antero told me, I noticed that he was really interested in social justice, but I was still very skeptical because for many years, I've been in the social justice world for a very long time, even before I became undocumented. And I tried to pursue a law degree as well, but that didn't work out. So I was very interested in that. When he came and told me that, I got excited, but at the same time, I was not fully believing in it because in the past, I had people wanting to work with me, and I always felt that it didn't come from a genuine place. So you know how it is. Especially researchers come to our communities, take something from us, and remove us from whatever project it is. So I was very clear with Antero, and you can ask him how I was very clear about it. If you want to work with me, if you want to use my story, if you want to use what this is, whatever it's about me, you cannot remove me from it. So that's how you started. We started doing research, and then the book came to us.
Great. Is that all true? Is that how it happened?
That is what happened. I think the thing I'll clarify for, I think Alix being very clear about how this research started is, as an academic, as a researcher, oftentimes, our goal is to protect the participants that we do research on, right? Like we tend to do this orientation of, we do research on people, we treat them as if they're under a microscope. And so when I first approached Alix, the question was, can we do this research together? I will keep your identity anonymous because that is the kind of traditional research paradigm. And Alix was very firm that no, like, if we're going to do this work together, I need to be credited. I need my story to be told by me. And so that helped kind of reshift and realign to make sure that our values were both shared in this work moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was one of the things that I've been cruising through it a little bit is, it is different, right? It is a narrative autobiography, but also the research kind of is in that. I mean, which is pretty unique. I mean, that feels unique in this way. Alix, what about your story do you think is intriguing for people? Why do you think it's important for folks to hear your particular story with the research woven in? Why would I pick this book up knowing it's about you?
Sure. I think there is amazing books out there already written by immigrants and undocumented people. I gotta say that this is not the first one written by an undocumented person. But my book, Antero and I believed that people have no idea about undocumented humans, right? They have no idea about the way we live our lives. They have no idea about, they're very confused by all the lies that the media has fed them, right? So I fully believe that if I wrote a memoir just talking about myself and talking about my story, which by the way is very complicated, and I hope that people really want to read the book because it's a lot that people are not going to. They're going to be like, what, undocumented people go through that? What? No way. But I'm certain I fully believe that giving people numbers, data, and science combined with my story would be more powerful. And that's what it differences from other books. I'm not saying that my book is better than any other book, but that is the only difference, especially in a moment like the one that we are living in. It seems like people not only see us as a number, they don't realize that there is a story behind a reason why we got here and the reason why we are undocumented. So we wanted to combine those things to make it more powerful.
Yeah. Well, and obviously the narrative has been the propaganda around what does a undocumented person look like, sound like, do, right? You don't necessarily fit that particular narrative. And it's easy to buy into that. So that's great. So Antero, as you heard the story, as you got to know it, doing the research and writing with a different paradigm of trying to protect and all those kind of things, how did that shift the way you participated in writing the book?
It made it much harder. I think I think, probably, I don't even think it was a fight, Alix, but I think probably one of the hardest parts for us in working on this book was agreeing on the voice, right? That we knew we both wanted to share, the experiences of what undocumented individuals are experiencing in this country. And we knew we wanted to bring in some research. We also know we wanted to build off of Alix's expertise. And so there are parts where we tried to write this in two competing first-person points of view. That was a disaster. There's points where we tried to write this in like a third-person point of view. And that felt like we were talking about Alix like she was like a hamster or an insect or something. So that was a disaster. And so I think, trying to figure like how do we get closer and closer to telling a true version of this story meant that ultimately we collapsed our writing process down to a singular voice. So other than this like opening research statement that's written in a we, the entire book is written from Alix's first person point of view, which is a weird, surreal feeling on my end to help write, someone else's I statements, right? And so that, that was a collage approach, right? We shared different kinds of perspectives. We traded back different kinds of memos and writing in order to get to that space. But it's definitely I think it's an arduous journey. It was something of it was a challenge, but also I think a particularly rewarding one. I think it sounds like a really unique book. I don't know, I'm a little biased, but I think it reads
very biased.
Very biased.
As you have to be in the book world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you don't like your book, then who else is going to like it? So yeah,
that's awesome. So Alix, I'm interested, as you were telling your story, were there parts that you ended up telling that you were not like? Do you had to convince yourself to tell, or are you a person that like once you just start going, you'll just tell the whole thing? I mean, how putting stuff out there, as you know, right? Whether it's internet or a book or whatever, it's out there. How was that about just telling your entire story? Because it's not just about your life, but it's like particulars around your documentation and all those things that can create, problems and all that. I mean, as you were telling that, how did you find telling your story?
Well, to be honest, you've been following me for a very long time. I don't remember how many years. We might need to check online, but it's been many years. I don't know who people can tell on Instagram, but I talk about I view the world and the way I view policies and all of that. But I don't share much about my life, and I do that on purpose because I don't like people knowing about my life. And being a private person, having to write about, there is so much chisme in the book, and there are not there is so many things that I hated about my life, and I hated that I did, and a lot of lies that I said and things that I did that I'm very embarrassing and probably going to change and shift the way my friends see me, I think.
Mm.
It's very nerve-wracking, but I fully believe that our stories hold so much power. And I pretty much knew that if I was gonna do it, I was gonna have to be willing to give it all. And I
Right.
put all the things that I hate about my story out there because I believe that it wasn't only gonna free me, but also going to make people see and that they have a lot in common with people like me who are now labeled undocumented, which by the way, I don't even believe in that label, right? It's just
Right.
a
Yep.
it's just a piece of paper. Let me just say that. I being undocumented is something that happened to me. It's not who I am. And I'm gonna
Right.
repeat it until people actually understand that. So yeah, I hated every single part of writing it.
The whole book thing, right? You have to. There's some parts that the industry kind of says, here's what you need to do because they want to be able to sell a book, and you still having enough integrity to write it in that world because you want the story to get out, right? So there is that kind. I want to talk about writing a little bit more, but I mean, as you were then hearing all these things, I mean, I was thinking, were you protective? I mean, or are there parts that it was like,
Yeah.
how do I put this in? Should this be in? I mean, tell me about hearing these things, probably learning things for the first time, how you reacted to it.
Yeah, it was I mean it definitely wasn't as awful, right, as having lived through the things
Sure.
that I was hearing about, right? But I think Alix knows, I think this was a multi-year process of trying to convince Alix we shouldn't do this. And we from writing the book through publishing it through promoting it, right? I think at each step it's like these things will put you more at risk, right?
Right.
And trying to make decisions in, are these the details you want to put in the book or not put in the book? And I think that means that as a result, I think because of Alix's bravery, that it's a compelling story, right? There's to the chisme side of it, it reads like a telenovela in parts of it, just some of the things that are in it,
Telenovela.
and at the same time, right? It like no one should have to live through those things,
Right.
and also it felt a little invasive at certain points to have to share these pieces out. But maybe if that's what's going to get people to turn the pages, then maybe that helps in the long run. I think that's part of your thinking is you're opening up all of this so that other people can at least make a connection. I think that's your perspective.
Yeah, I fully believe that, and Antero and I had conversations about it. I mean, if we wrote a book about data and science and explaining people how immigration policies affect the everyday life of not only undocumented but everyone, it wouldn't be as helpful because in all these years that I've been doing this and I've been in the social justice world, I have come to realize that you can bring people the science behind
Yep.
what they think they know, and that's not going to change anything, right? So, showing my humanity for putting my humanity to that way, which by the way is horrendous. I'm still getting used to it. For people to realize that I'm just as human as they are, and I have the same needs as they do. I have the same desires, and I should have the same rights to live.
Yeah. I wonder if you could have written this 5 years ago. Like if there was a just the kind of stewing of it all and kind of marinating it all, whether you would have been able to write the same book 5 years ago versus today or whatever. That because I kind of think as it was coming out and all the promos started happening, I was like, how providential for it to come out right now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, in the midst of everything that's happening in our country right now, to have a humanizing book around folks who are undocumented. I mean, I just feel like there's something about the timing.
Yeah.
So as it's coming out, how is that playing right now in the midst of things that are happening within? I mean, Southern California is certainly terrible, it's starting to get pretty bad in the Bay Area. But with this book coming out now in the midst of what's happening right now, how has that played with the book and impacted conversations?
It has felt. I don't have the words, and honestly, I have to say this publicly, but Antero is such a champ. because I feel like every time we talk, I'm like crying and like having a panic attack, and it's been really bad. And every time he's like, whenever you are ready to cancel everything, we can cancel everything. Like, you don't have to do this. And I have to say that because I don't want people to think that he's like pushing me to do this.
Get on the stage.
Yeah.
No, he's not. Actually,
Stage dad.
Yeah.
but no, he's been so gracious and he's been so good in working with me, because this book comes with so much emotional damage because I'm terrified. I'm also chronically ill. So
Yep.
I'm whenever I get flare ups, I'm barely alive. So there is a lot of things that are connected, right? Being sick and being stressed makes me more sick. And I'm also terrified to go out to the grocery store. I've been just delivering my groceries because I'm scared to go to the store. And at the same time, I'm promoting my book. Like,
Yep.
what is life? I'm doing it. My life is full of contradictions, which is very difficult right now. So I'm trying my best to bring light to this darkness, but I'm risking a lot of myself in order to do this mission.
Yeah. Which I think at different levels of that is our humanity, right? None of us is one particular thing. I mean, you're unfortunately having, and folks right now in particular areas are having to live it at an extreme. But I think there's something really brave, courageous, lovely, tender about being willing to share that and to say, it is a complicated time right now, and you are living with contradictions that, again, are much worse than some of us. But how much pushback publicly? I know you have a lot of people who are supporting you and all that, but have there been challenges? You mentioned a few things, Alex, when we're off. Like, how has it been received both positively and negatively these days?
We just received our first 1-star review on Goodreads.
Okay.
I feel like that's maybe that feels like a rite of passage in some ways.
Exactly. If I could give 0, I would. Yes.
That's right. Yeah. But I think that the people who are showing up to events are by and large overwhelmingly positive.
Sure.
I think, right. And the bookstores, we've mainly done events at independent bookstores in Southern California, and those folks who have just been tremendously supportive, the people who are running these events, and I think, putting their businesses at risk as well, that to the extent that they have, local community members and employees who are watching the doors to make sure that the people who belong in the event are coming into the event and keeping it as safe as possible for folks. So I just want to name, I think that reception is really positive. Alix was talking about contradictions with this book, and maybe one contradiction that I've been thinking about is this contradiction of, it's both an incredibly timely book, right? It feels like a book of this moment, and trying to get this book above the noise of like the day-to-day violence and policy changes and all of the kinds of busying stuff feels very difficult, right? So it's both like the and as you know, like with the book world, like the public's attention span for a quote unquote new book is fleeting and very quickly dissipates. And so trying to make sure to stay within the conversation is tricky. And also, I think the amount of time and effort and emotional energy that went into the book means we're trying to keep it in the conversation as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, it is, right? You've created this thing and you want people to hear it and see it and read it. And so how do you do that while holding integrity to what you're able to do?
Yeah.
Alix, I know that you've received lots of feedback, good and bad. And what do you want to share?
Well, I don't want to focus so much on the bad one because it's psychotic. I don't have words to describe that. The things that people write to me, it's kind of funny because I could take it as hard and be like, oh my God, I'm a horrible person because lady underscore 24 thinks that I suck than I do. I'd rather not focus on that, and I want to focus. And I think what is getting me through these days is there is so much love all around us. And I keep telling people every time we have an event, yes, things are pretty bad, but we cannot lose hope and look all around you when we're at the events. I always tell people, look all around you. Like, there is people marching, there is people protesting because they love us, because they believe that we have the same right as them. And I don't want the bad to outweigh the good things that are also happening, which is really difficult, you know? So I just want to highlight that I'm so grateful
Yeah.
that people want to be part of this and that people are waking up to the fact that if we don't do something and if we don't unite, this is going to go worse than it is.
Yep. Yep. I will say just a caveat about what happens to mostly women online. The stuff that you probably get is worse than what I get. I mean, I just think of all my female colleagues who write and about a lot of things. The trash that gets thrown at them is very different than what I get. And I think that's just important to acknowledge. So I'm glad you don't give it oxygen, but I think it's important to know that especially female writers and public intellectuals get much worse stuff than the men of the world. But anyway, so that's all. We'll give it to them. But I also want to say, I think I completely agree with you. I hate the reason that there's so many direct actions and gatherings and protests right now, but there's so much joy and hope when we gather. I mean, I think there is something about reminding people that we're not going to get through this alone and that there is great power in that. And that's, I mean, there's gives me great hope for sure. Let me move on a little bit. I appreciate all this. We'll ask for some things at the end about how to get it and all that. Let's move on to a next little section that we do with all of our things, the nerdy and the niche. You all had a little bit of time to talk about that. We're going to start with Alix. What's the nerdy and niche thing? What's the thing that we wouldn't guess about you, or just whatever? Is it a hobby, a passion, a whatever? What is it for you?
Well, I love acting, especially improv acting. That is one of my favorite things to do. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get into a class, but I love acting. And yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the question: who would play you in the movie?
Ooh.
Let's let me put it this way. Let's just assume that you are now too old to play the younger you. Who is playing you?
Wow, that is such a great question. You know what's funny that I was acting. I was studying acting for a very long time because I thought I was gonna play myself, and now I have gotten old and I'm a little granny now, so I cannot play myself. So I don't know. I actually that's such a good question. Who do you think should play me, Antero?
Who should play you? Wow. In a million years, I would never have said Lady Gaga. That's definitely who should not play you. I don't know. It seems like a wild.
Well, we could probably think of a lot of who should not play. So I expect to see, Alix, on your Instagram a thing that just says who should play me in the movie, and just see what people say.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of who it would be. Antero, any guesses?
Who would be I mean, yeah. When you talk to friends, do they say you look like anybody? I don't know. I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, people will say that I look like Selena Gomez. They also say that
I mean, she's a billionaire. I feel like you could.
I mean, that would be amazing, but I don't think she would. She wanna play me.
Didn't she get a bunch of flack for her like Spanish accent in like her last movie? I feel like you'd be very critical.
I know. That's right. She doesn't speak Spanish either, and that's important for the movie.
Yeah. A little bit. All right. Well, I think that's the big question of the day for the internets to figure out if you're listening to this. Drop down who you think should play. But okay, Antero, what's your nerdy and niche?
Yeah, I don't know who would play me in a movie. I'm just kidding. This is I think the nerdy and niche thing is probably, and I alluded to this, I have never missed an episode of Survivor since day one of that TV show.
I cannot watch that.
Since season 1, we're approaching season 49. It'll air in September. Wow. And so I've seen all of it and all of the spin-off related things related to Survivor.
Do you want to be on it?
No, it's funny. Someone just asked me about this, and I would absolutely hate it. I feel like I would hate it, but I'm really fascinated by the social game of it.
Yeah, of course. I was going to say that's probably what it is. Yeah. my kids, one who they're both academics, but they always talk about they're not people watching; they're doing ethnographies, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
In the world. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, call it what you want. You're still ear hawking.
That's right. I do have nerdy aspirations to do some academic writing on the pedagogy of Survivor someday. This will be my someday another book, but not
Yeah.
anytime soon. That's for sure.
I think there's one called The Gospel According to Survivor out there, and if there
What?
isn't,
That's interesting.
What?
if there
I'm in.
isn't, there's another co-writing thing you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
They've done gospels according to everything. I wrote one a long time ago, a study that was the gospel according to my so-called life. If you remember that one.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. They did
That's
a little
where Jared Leto got his
study.
start, right?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, Claire Danes and Jared Leto. Claire Danes is the best crier ever. Like, she is the best. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right. So as we end up our time, what are you listening to? What are you reading? And or what are you watching? So Antero, we'll start with you. What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching?
So I tend to, with tonight being an exception, I tend to do bedtime stories with my kids every night before they go to bed. And we are wrapping up Charlotte's Web by E.B. White.
Aww. Do you prepare them for the end?
It's funny. So this is why we're reading this book, is we've only ever read happy stories before. And so this felt like an important one to dig into. We're, a chapter away from, spoiler alert for a book that's, 80 years old or something. But we're approaching the chapter where Charlotte passes. And so, but I will say I'm reminded by just how good of a writer E.B. White is. It is an incredibly written book. It makes, Elements of Style was written by E.B. White. Like, this is a very famous New Yorker writer in addition to Charlotte's Web. So just have been really enjoying that as a children's book that I remember as a kid, right? So I'll maybe add that, and then bring a very nerdy academic book that is about shortly after the end of World War II. This book explores how was democracy taught in post-Nazi Germany, and the ways that you had to re-educate an entire society in the wake of fascism. And so reading that for probably intentional reasons, thinking about the present state of the United States. And so that's been a book that's been really fascinating to kind of reflect on, is, how do you teach in the wake of a paradigm shift in some ways?
Right. And so the Survivor thing, I just interviewed somebody who played the pastor on a reality show called The Snake.
Oh, interesting. I haven't seen The Snake. I've heard of this show. Yeah.
It is really, I won't, since things happened, we've stopped watching it, but it's a really interesting way. I think you'd be intrigued by it because they've gamed it a little bit differently than other ones. And the premise is there's all these, you come in as your profession. So there's like a cowboy, an OnlyFans, a pastor, I don't remember what they all are, but it's hysterical. And the pastor is Jacob Buckholtz, who's the pastor at the United Church of Christ in Claremont.
Oh, wow.
Super liberal. Yeah, he went on it because he could share a version of the gospel that was progressive, left-leaning, affirming, all that. So it's been really interesting, and we just posted that episode a few weeks ago. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to listen to it. There was I think 3 or 4 seasons ago of Survivor, so we're somewhere in the 40s. One of the participants was she was a youth minister, but like when she wasn't on the island, and she was the sneakiest player of the season. Yeah. It was absolutely incredible.
Don't trust us.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, don't.
Alex, Alex, what are you listening to, watching, or reading these days?
Oh, great question. I'm listening to my best friend. She has the voice of an angel, and she produces and writes her own songs. Her name is Debbie Dawson, and I'm literally obsessed with her. And it's not because she's my best friend. I think even if she wasn't my friend, I would still be obsessed with her music. And honestly, whenever I'm sad, which is every single day, 24 hours, lately, I've been listening to her music, and it has brought me so much joy lately. And I'm watching a show that is pissing me off. It's called The Summer I Turned Pretty, and I'm so angry at it.
Allie's watching that too. That's really funny.
Is it good angry, or is it so bad you're angry? Like, are you supposed to be angry?
No, it's so good. I'm
Okay.
just angry how that story is developing because I
Uh-huh.
think whenever we feel angry at a character is because he triggers something that we have and we hate
Yeah.
about ourselves. And I think that's the reason why I'm upset because I'm like, I did those things.
Are you watching the current season, Alex?
Yes.
My wife has been watching the show, and I saw like an episode from the very first season, and I saw it recently, and it's it's all these teenagers, but they all look like they're like 80 years old.
30. Yeah.
They look very old.
They don't. They don't like teenagers.
I don't know. Yeah, that you're just saying that, Alex, so you can play yourself in your movie. I understand
That's
what's
right.
happening here.
Oh yeah.
That's the plan.
No, I don't want to play myself. He cries too much in my movie, so I don't know if I want to do that much crying.
Well, that is awesome. I always share a little bit about what I'm reading to these days. So I've been driving a lot. I was on a road trip, and so I got to listen. I listened to Sunrise on the Reaping, which is the prequel to Hunger Games, and it tells the story
Is
of
it the
Haymitch.
sequel to the recent film?
I mean, it's the prequel to the Hunger Games, but the sequel to the one about Snow.
The one that they made into a movie, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's right in between.
Cool.
So it's an excellent. The narrator is amazing, and if you just need a brain candy book to listen to, it is great. And the other one I just finished, and I just listened to it for felt like 10 hours straight, was one called "Why We Love Baseball: A History in 50 Moments" by Joe Posnanski. I'm a baseball person, and he tells the stories so well about baseball. I'm an Oakland A's fan, so I'm just angry and bitter about baseball in general. But this book made me realize why I love baseball.
I hadn't seen baseball in forever. And then for the last World Series, because of the Dodgers, I put it on, and I didn't know they put a pitch clock on, and that makes the game so much better now. Baseball's watchable.
I should ask before I promise to publish this: are you all LA Dodgers fans?
I mean, if I'm going to watch baseball, then absolutely. I feel like there's no other. I like that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Okay, I can still put this out then. Yeah, I'm such an Oakland A's fan that I hate the Giants and the Dodgers equally. So I don't.
Wow, that's incredible.
Equally.
Yeah. We're just like sad fans that put up with so much. Our self-esteem is so low, and now we're just angry. So it's bad.
I love it.
And then I'm watching The Lincoln Lawyer. I got into that, and I don't know why I'm watching that, but anyway,
I like it.
The second season is gold. It's so good. All right. Anyway, all right. So enough about what we're reading, watching. We'll put all that in the links if you all want to grab any of that. We'll make sure that folks can find the things that we're listening to. So how can we find you, Alex? What's the best way for people to connect with you that you would want to share with the internet?
Oh, great. The best way to connect with me, please get my book. It's called The Cost of Being Undocumented.
Well done.
You can find me on Instagram as well. It's __decent. And my name is Alix, Alix. And my last name is Dick, Dick.
All right. We'll put that all in there, and folks can connect. And then, Antero, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Definitely not email. My email address is very easy to find at Stanford, but I will most likely lose your email if you try to email me. So I'm just giving you fair warning that
I love it.
If you email me, I'm probably not writing back to you. So just apologies in advance for all of you, particularly prospective students. But I think, occasionally I will look at, I'm not very good at Instagram. Alix is good at reminding me that I'm not very good at it. But I will check there sometimes. Same with, every once in a while I'll remember that Blue Sky is a thing, and I'll go on there.
Oh.
But I tend to be a little reclusive here and there. And so I think if you try to message me on some kind of social media platform that's not LinkedIn, I will probably find it eventually. That's probably,
I don't understand.
Probably the best
Every
way.
Message I get from LinkedIn is purely good and true. I don't.
Yeah. It's all totally accurate and wonderful. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I started to get like sexual things on LinkedIn. I was like, what?
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah. It started to get. I'm like, why is you're not trying to recruit me for a job or tell me how to improve my Instagram follow. I mean, what? Yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening?
That's a sneaky LinkedIn or something. That's a,
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just like LinkedIn after dark. I must have
clicked
on something. Clicked on something. We should start that. That's how we'll fund all of our writing for the future. Is LinkedIn.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, all. Thank you so much for being here. Again, pick up the book, The Cost of Being Undocumented, One Woman's Reckoning with America's Inhumane Math. And thank you all for coming, hanging out on the show. We're so glad to have you. I've really enjoyed getting to know you both. Everybody go do all the things at all the places you put podcasts in your ears, subscribe, everybody knows how to do that at this point. Again, appreciate everybody listening to the Amalgamation Podcast. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with our next guest. And until then, take care and peace. This podcast was hosted by Bruce Reyes-Chow, produced by Emmy Hicks, edited by Desiree McFarland, with music by Marissa Magdal-Laron, and inspired by ancestors past and generations to come. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to subscribe to the Amalgamation newsletter at reyes-chow.com. Until next time, thanks for listening.